Good afternoon and welcome back to the channel. So I've owned this bike for the best part of a year now, and over that time I feel as though I've got to know her pretty well. And for the most part, I love it. But there are a few things that really grind my gears. So on this video, I'm going to talk to you about the 5 things that I absolutely hate about the Royal Enfield Himalayan.
Okay, so the first thing I hate about the Royal Enfield Himalayan is the way it throws mud up all over itself. So it doesn't look too bad at the minute, and it's been fairly dry here for the last couple of weeks. But the main issue is this back section here. So there's no real mud guard to it. It throws muck all over itself, all over the side panels and all over the tank, especially in the winter. So you can of course fit an aftermarket hugger or something like that to this bike, but you know, for Green Lane it's not something that I personally really want to do. So you'd kind of think Royal Enfield would fit something there at least to try and protect the bike a little bit. So that's the first thing that I don't like about it. And the second thing that I hate about the Royal Enfield Himalayan is the standard Sayat tyres. Now, if you are somebody that's going to be riding solely on the road, these will do you just fine, no issues at all. And if you're riding on light trails in the summer, again, no issues whatsoever. But for this sandy stuff that I'm riding today, far from ideal. And certainly in the winter months, when it's really muddy here, especially in the UK, they just don't do the trick for me. So that's the second thing I'd hate about the Royal Enfield Himalayan, is the tyres. But if you're a road user, absolutely fine. They won't do you wrong. So the next thing that I hate about the Royal Enfield Himalayan is the windscreen. Now, those of you that have been watching the channel for a while know that I'll have had all sorts of problems with the audio and clarity. Helmet's making too much noise, I've changed microphones, I've spent quite a lot trying to perfect the audio setup. And this is the best setup I've got now, and it's still not up to where I want it to be. And the main reason for that, I now believe, is the screen. A lot of people complain about buffeting from the screen. I can't actually feel anything in my body, but the wind noise I get from it, even with earplugs in, is really quite bad. Now bear in mind, you're not going to experience this necessarily if you're a different height to me. So I'm 5'7.5", and for me it's absolutely dreadful. Pulling up to a junction here at the wrong time, but what I'm going to do, just when I go around this corner, is I'm going to duck down behind the screen. You'll obviously hear that the wind noise will go away. I'll sit in my normal riding position, it will come back. And if I go up on the pegs, it'll go again, because I'm then in clean air. It's hitting me directly, but it's obviously clean air. I'll just get up to speed. So this is 40 miles an hour, duck down behind the screen. You should really be able to tell that the wind noise is much less. This is my normal riding position. And then going up on the pegs outside of that turbulent air. So if you are buying one of these bikes, it may be worth experimenting with the height of your screen. It can make a huge difference. Okay, so the fourth thing that I hate about the Royal Enfield Himalayan is how long the bike takes to run in. So for the first 300 miles on this bike, you're not meant to go above 40 miles an hour and about 3,000 revs. And then from mile 300 up to 1,200, which I'm still in the running period now, nearly a year on, 1,047 miles on the clock. You're not meant to go above 50 miles an hour or 4,000 RPM. So part of the reason I wanted to get this bike was to go on some long trips. But the top speed almost prevents me from doing that for the first year at least. So you could argue you could go out on the bike obviously a little bit more, do a lot of local rides, but just to get the mileage in. And it's one thing I didn't want to do when I bought this bike. I knew the running period was going to be a little bit arduous, but I didn't want to go out on the bike just to get the mileage in, because then I thought it seemed like a little bit of a chore. I'm doing that for the last couple of 100 miles because I'm so eager to get there now, but you know, for the vast majority of this year I've just gone out when I wanted to go out on the bike. But yeah, it is a bit of a downside from the bike. If you're buying used and it's already running, great, you're good to go. But if you're buying this bike brand new, yeah, that running process is a little bit tedious. So that's the fourth thing. I don't like about the Royal Enfield Himalayan. Okay, so the fifth and final thing that I hate about the Royal Enfield Himalayan is kind of to do with the clocks. It's not the clocks themselves, I love the look of them, I think they look fantastic, they're functional, but there's two problems with it. It's these buttons. That is so hard to press. Same with the mode button, and it very rarely does anything. Now this may just be a problem with my bike, but it's a right pain in the backside, and it's one of the reasons that I don't turn the ABS off when I go off-road. The other major annoyance linked to the dials with this bike is this. So it's really, really hard to demonstrate this in the summer. It only really happens in the winter and when it's raining. But this display really, really steams up in bad and colder weather. I'll try and overlay some images that I've got from the winter on this bike, if not some generic ones from online. But it can be a real pain in the backside. So that is the fifth and final thing that I hate about the Royal Enfield Himalayan, the dials. Now, all in all, I absolutely love this bike, but there are 5 things that I hate. Hate might be a strong word, but slightly dislike. It's not really a great catchy YouTube name, is it? But you know, all of these things I do hate in the moment, especially that screen blast. For me personally, that's the worst thing on the bike. Everything else I can just about live with. I bought this bike to be relaxing, and with that amount of noise, at times, it definitely isn't. So, hope you've enjoyed the video. If you're looking in the market for a new Himalayan, hope you've learned something. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and until the next time, goodbye.